Hi everyone, I'm Emma, a certified dog trainer.
And I'm Kirsten, a certified dog behavior consultant.
And this is Dog Chats. Join us as we chat about dog behavior, having fun with your dogs, and building relationships. We will offer practical advice and a bit of humor. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 14. This is a big one for us because it's our 1-year anniversary. Woohoo! And we're still loving it. We're so enjoying this podcast, and we hope that you are too, and joining with us every month for something new. Before we go forward and discuss our topic for this episode, we want to give a big shout out to two people in our lives that make this all possible. We sound good only because of them. So the two people that are so important to us are Rod and John, our significant others, who really, we looked out, one who can edit and make sure that we've got everything switched on to record.
Yep, and Rod helps with the topics and the planning and the uploading and the marketing.
We just looked out so much. So we want to give them a shout out. They're behind the scenes all the time, but a big part of our podcast.
So it's kind of like our Podiversary.
Podiversary.
And I love this. We're coming full circle because our initial episode, we did the intro one, and then we jumped into traveling with our dog, doing the summer treks and camping with our dogs. And a year into it, we're finally starting to look beyond us at other people that we can trust with our dogs, and giving our dogs that wonderful experience of being with someone when we go off with our significant others.
And have a vacation, which is so important. And we're happy to share with you an interview we did with a local dog sitter named Lynes Downing Jr. We hope you enjoy it, and it gives you some great information about what to look for when you're thinking of going out of town and you need somebody to look after your dog. Enjoy.
We're welcoming Lynes Downing Jr., a local pet sitter and small pack dog walker, who's going to talk to us today about his profession, the highs and lows, how we can help you all find the perfect pet sitter and dog walker. He's going to kind of share with us how he got to where he is today. He started volunteer walking dogs when he was working the restaurant business in Phoenix because he had time during the day and wanted to give back. And he fell so much in love with that when he moved back to the Bay Area, he's one of the only actual Marin natives left in Marin County.
Yeah.
He went to Marin Humane and wanted to volunteer and continue that because of his passion for dogs and wanting to help out. And the story I love that he shared with us was that he was out on the trail and ran into somebody with 4 dogs. And he said to her, "Oh, are those dogs from Marin Humane?" He thought, "Wow, here's a dog walker taking out 4 dogs at a time." And she said, "No, I'm a dog walker. This is my job." And that was his epiphany moment of, wow, this could be my job. I could make a living doing this. And he's gone on to have a very successful career. He's helped out a lot of other trainers and dog walkers. He's somebody that I contact constantly when I have a client who's looking for support. So we're going to learn a little bit about Lynes's craft and hope we answer some of your questions about the pet sitting and dog walking business.
Great. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I listen to it monthly when you put them out.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's start with the first question. When people are looking for a dog sitter, what should they be looking for?
Well, experience is one thing. If they should get a free meet and greet with somebody before they even hire them to meet the dog, to meet the people, and just having some good questions to ask about their experience. Have they ever worked with our type of dog? Where do you take dogs, or what will you be doing with them for walks or hikes? How much time will you spend with our dog? Because some people have to go out for a few hours to walk other dogs during the week, possibly, and they've got their own lives too, so they can get out to dinner or a movie or something like that. So dogs should be able to be left alone for a few hours, no problem. So the pet sitter can do their thing as well. Otherwise, the rates go up, like when they have a puppy and you have to spend a lot more time there. But what it comes down to is just the gut feeling that people have when they meet somebody. And knowing that they love animals, but that they also prioritize the safety of the animals. And basically, we're selling peace of mind while they're out of town. So as long as they can relax and feel that the dog is being well taken care of, and they can enjoy their vacation or outing or whatever it is.
I guess that's important to us too when we look for somebody to look after our dogs as well. Is just, can we rely on the person? How often will the person be here? Will they meet the needs of our dogs? All of that, because it's a nervous thing, I can tell you, and I think Kirsten can agree with me that there's the night before you leave your dog with somebody that you go into a panic as to whether you should leave or not. I don't know if you come across that with any of your clients.
Because Lynes, I just got back from my first vacation in 6 years, like true vacation. And my daughters were watching the dogs, and I was on the phone with them way too much. So when you were saying like this whole idea of like selling the peace of mind, I wish you had been with my dogs.
Yeah. A lot of people use friends and family, and then after a while, they're like, they're just not taking care of the dogs as much as a professional would be, even though we've got to pay them. That's what they do, and they know what they're doing, and can respond if anything comes up. So they take it a little more seriously than just friends and family chipping in to help out.
Lynes, particularly, you have so much varied experience, because you were my DTA, which is dog training assistant, at my classes at Rainy, Maine. You've walked dogs for, is it more than 12 years?
About 12 years. Yeah, just over.
But 2 decades worth of walking dogs at shelters. And, you've worked with so many different breeds. And I can think of a couple different really tricky clients that I had you go meet. And what I loved was that in one of the cases, I won't talk about the breed of the dog, but you went 3 times to those people for free, and you just said it's not going to work. This dog is not going to feel comfortable when I'm here.
And what do you look for when you arrive at a house to do that sort of pre-visit before saying yes?
So the meet and greet is just as much an interview for me, analyzing them and the animal as much as it is for them looking at me. But I look at the interaction between the owners and the dog and see how they treat them, see what the dog's routine is, if they're reactive to people, maybe to other dogs. If I just couldn't win them over, there aren't very many that it happens to, but if they're over fearful or overly aggressive, that's just times it won't work. Because that could be overprotective of the family, of their house, and they might not get anybody in the household to take care of them. They might have to board them if it comes down to that, with the dog having the attitude that it has. So, but I kept trying with that one, and just couldn't win them over, and so I had to move on, and I don't know if they ever got a pet sitter or not.
And it's so important. It's so important that the dog is comfortable and you're comfortable, because they're going to be with you for a couple of days, and that's so important to spend that time beforehand, making sure it's a good match. Is there anything like from like the training perspective that's helpful for you to have, like crate training or just general stuff like that? Like, do you sometimes take a puppy that isn't house trained, like stuff like that?
I am lucky enough. I don't take puppies, any dogs under 6 months, because it would take too much of my time, and I would have to charge too much for that. And I don't always have the time to spend with the puppies. But most of the dogs have actually been through some sort of training, so they've got some basics down, and so they've got some socialization, but mostly socialization, so they're not too reactive with other dogs and they get along with other dogs, because I will bring them on my group walks if I can, and get them out and about for the exercise off leash so they can play with other dogs. So the training in specific things isn't that big of a deal. Even if they're crate trained, That doesn't really matter. I've never had to put dogs in a crate when I've left the house. They've always kind of let them roam, or an area in the house, and they have access to outside sometimes, so they can toilet themselves, and then just going with their routines. And like I said, the training is not the most formidable thing that I need. It's really just their personality and how they deal with people and other dogs and their owners.
What's your favorite part of your day when you're working with the dogs?
My favorite part is waking up to the dogs next to me if I'm pet sitting. If they allow them to sleep in the bed, or they're used to sleeping in the bed. I love that. But it's also after I take them out for a walk or an outing and we come back and everybody's safe and nothing happened, didn't have any incidents with other critters or foxtails or ticks, things like that. So that's always a good thing. So I'm always relieved when we come back. And it's basically happened almost every time. So I haven't had too many issues to deal with.
And there is like that you're taking care of somebody else's, dog, there is a great responsibility in that. So I'm sure that there are those times like when I have dog or people look after my dogs, I actually say they don't even have to walk them because all I really want them to be is safe. I don't really mind too much if for a week they don't get out as much as they normally did, just because they have little fussy things that they do that I don't want a dog sitter to have to deal with. And I just really, my thought is safety. And you probably get that sometimes too, where people just say, just come in and take care of them. I don't need anything else other than that to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, the people who know me, I take the dogs out to get them socialization and exercise because I like to take them out with other dogs so they have a lot more fun. And I like to send pictures with
Right.
them smiling and looking like they're having a great time. But the one thing that we as pet sitters don't like is if the owners or parents aren't forthcoming in all the aspects of the dog. And so we have some surprises with how they react to other dogs or people that they haven't told us. And that's probably the hardest thing with the pet sitting gig as with regard to the owners.
Yeah. Do you send out a form? Obviously, there's things that are important for you to know, like in an emergency situation, who do they contact, their vet and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
there's people that will give you like the life story, and people that will give you, like you said, not all the information. So do you have a nice form that you send out that's going to gather as much as you can from your client?
Yeah. Over the years, I've added a few things, some legal documentation, which I don't really need because I have insurance for anything like that. But I have a informational form for the client and the house, information for each animal, and they can write as much as they want. Most people have a supplement where they'll give me a few pages of instructions of their daily routine. Some of them have binders that go minute by minute almost of their daily activities. More information is better, so we have a reference point. Some people are like, here are the keys, no news is good news, and send pictures if you want, and then they're off and running. But that usually doesn't happen right off the bat. That'll happen with dogs I've taken care of for years, and I know the drill, and they might leave a set of instructions, like give our dog the tick pill on this date or something like that, flea and ticks. And we've got a landscaper coming this day and a cleaner coming that day. But knowing those things is we want. That's definitely good information. We don't like to have people just show up or surprises happening while we're staying there. I'm with the dog and I basically follow their routine.
That's great. I have a question because so that I work with a lot of dogs that have aggressive reactive behaviors. And I have clients who say to me, I want to get a pet sitter. I can't imagine how somebody could come into the house if I'm not here. And I'll give them ideas about like maybe having a pen in front of the door or having the dog behind a baby gate. But what do you recommend? What's best for you when it's a dog who's maybe unsure?
So I usually meet them out and about, away from the house. We'll go meet at a park or down the street. We'll walk around with them so they can get to know me, sniff. I might take the leash, um, and then go from there and then get closer to the house. I did that a couple times with this big dog that was aggressive, and he kind of never came. Actually, he did let me in the house, but he was such a big dog that it made me a little nervous that if he happened to turn, there wouldn't be much I could do possibly. So it's sort of a, trial by error and take it slow with some of those dogs because sometimes the owners they know that they might not be able to have somebody stay and they might have to either have a family member that the dog already knows or board them at a facility or something like that.
Yeah. But that's good. So meeting them out in the street, I like that. The neutral territory, low pressure. One of my favorite Lynes stories is when I was thinking about adding training walks to my business, and you met with me, and it was great. Gave me the pep talk, and you said, "I have this job now that when I wake up on a Monday morning, I think, wow, I get to go to work. I love my job." And every Monday morning, I think of that. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
I know.
right.
I tell people most people don't look forward to Mondays. I love Mondays because I haven't seen the dogs in 2 days. So I get to get up and take them out, and
Yeah.
I can't be in a bad mood when I'm around them. So they wake me up and make me happy, just like I do for them. They make my day, and I make their day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what would you, and I know I kind of mentioned this at the beginning and it may have answered the question, but I'm going to ask it again. So say I am somebody that, is looking for a dog sitter and I go to next door, which is where you see a lot of stuff happening. And they say, "Hey, is there a dog sitter out there?" And you get 10 replies, right? And then you're assessing like who has experience and what else. And I know you have like wonderful history of experience working with dogs for many, many years. Well, what are those questions that you think people should ask to really
So,
an idea of who they have staying in their house?
yeah, at the meet and greet, I have a set of questions, and I actually would try to help other people out while they're looking as well. A few years ago, I posted a document and a short video on my website of how to find a dog walker. Can be used for pet sitters as well, but it lists places to look and good questions to ask. Um, Things like, what's your experience? Are you insured? Can I get some references? And if the sitter balks on any of those questions, it's a red flag because I'm more than happy. My clients will talk me up and love to give me rave reviews as long as I'm not taken away from being able to pet sit for them as well. So that's the whole thing. So the cat's 22. But anybody who's not willing to give information or not answer or something like that, then if they don't have whatever you're asking for, it's just a red flag. But I've listed some places to look. The first place I list is Marin Humane because they've got a list of pet sitters and dog walkers that are only employees and volunteers.
Yes.
Next door, Yelp, but then I would cross-reference any of the next door if they happen to have Yelp reviews or even a website. Try to contact past clients if you can get references as well. Definitely at the meet and greet, and definitely call them and check up on them to see how they did. Because that can, when you're coming in blind and starting from scratch, if you don't have someone to refer or you're new to an area, it's kind of tough. So you've got to, again, go on your gut feeling when you meet somebody face to face and go from there.
I'm circling back to just talking about Linus's positivity and the fact that Emma and I are somewhat anxious with our dog. And
I don't know who
had,
you're talking about. That could be me.
but I've had this conversation with so many clients, and I need, I'm preaching to the clients and I'm not listening. I'm a hypocrite. But one of the things that I have seen with Linus when he was my DTA in class is that calm confidence that you bring to the dogs, they sense that right away. And it's amazing how so much of this is about the references to that. But really, I think people watching the pet sitter with the dog says everything. And we would have someone come into class and they were sweating and they were like, I want to be in the corner and da da da. And you would walk over and just, calmly look down, say the right thing, and that dog would just come up and melt in your lap. And I think when people see that moment, it changes everything.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, hang on. My dog isn't a neurotic mess, maybe just with me.
Mhm.
You bring out this other side of the dogs that it's so wonderful that that's just such a gift that the owners can do that and then have that peaceful vacation.
Well, I've had people tell me they can tell that I love the dogs, not just for the love of dogs, but I kind of bond with them and I understand them. So I will alter my responses to them based on the type of dog they are.
But you also pick really good dogs too, is the other thing. Like that's one thing I know that when you're deciding who you're going to walk together, because we had talked about that, you're very selective. You're going to set the dog up for success. So that's what's so wonderful too.
Well, I can now, but I've taken on some difficult ones that were like COVID dogs that weren't socialized. And I've got one that comes with our group now. He still kind of growls at new dogs, but he gets along with the pack just fine. So he's having a blast and the owners appreciate it. So there have been some differences. So I like to change those dogs and have them have a good time and be socialized because that'll just make them better. And in fact, the parents have told me that he's much better out and about with them because he was very protective of them because they were around all the time.
Right.
So they see the change and that helps as well.
I know you're in great demand. So everybody's going to hear this and go, give me his contact number and we'll get a hold of him. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. You can give them your information, but we know you're booked quite a bit out. And that's the other thing I wanted to say. When you find yourself a good dog sitter, you've got to plan like way ahead when you're going to need them. And
you can only vacation when they're available.
Yeah, but sometimes it can be 6 months ahead. Do you have that sometimes where people say, "Oh, I booked you for Christmas. I'm booking you now for next Christmas," or something like that, where they're away for a holiday or something?
Oh yeah, my document online says plan early, start early, because and I have some clients that check my availability before they make their plans. But right now, I'm basically taking reservation for next year. I'm pretty much booked up the rest of this year, and yeah, it's becoming more and more in the future just because after COVID, now everybody's traveling. My clients are traveling 2-3 times this year. So it's been very busy. But like you said, when they find a good pet sitter, they can trust, they relax on their trips. I've got, I've had a couple clients that fly me out of state when they've moved to come down and pet sit for them. And I get a trip down to San Diego every summer
That's amazing.
for the same reason. So
That says a lot about you right there. Wow,
it's pretty nice. Yeah.
that's great.
Because I had some clients during COVID who had maybe their first dog since adulthood. And they would call me, and this is mean, but to laugh, but they would call me and say, hey, we're going to Europe next week. Do you have any pet sitters?
Oh man.
You're like, good luck. Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
is
all-
that demand, Linus, do you feel like it's still that high? Because I know for a while I had clients, they couldn't find people for months.
Well, when they're doing it last minute, I just had somebody text me that knows I'm booked up, but wanted me to refer a pet sitter, and they're going somewhere on this Sunday. And I'm like, wow, you've got to start way earlier than that. Most of the pet sitters I know are going to be booked, but they can only, the in-home pet sitters are harder to find because they can only be one place at a time.
Mhm.
And not a lot of people can do it. It's got to be pretty specific type of person. No other pets, no family, things like that. But I do know some pet sitters that will have a dog, and that's one of their clarifications is that they've got to be able to bring their dog over. So the meet and greet is not only about their setup, but about the dogs getting along as well.
What would you recommend people that are looking at a dog sitter that brings the dog into their own home and they already have dogs already? What would you recommend clients look for when they go into a dog sitter's home?
just watching their own dogs react. So for the parents, you just got to watch the other dogs. And some people may be like, no, I can't have anybody that has any animals, because it doesn't really come up very often.
Mhm.
But none of the pet sitters I know have their own animals. So it's got to be
Yeah.
a barrier to getting some work. But there are times where I've double booked on purpose because the dogs know each other, and I've taken one dog over to the other dog's place, and they stay together because they've known each other. They've been out on walks together.
And the people are fine with that
Yeah.
happening, and
They've all
thrilled
met
with
each
that,
other.
and they have, yeah.
I have a question. So clients often ask me, should I board my dog or should I get a pet sitter? And sometimes I just don't know. There's things I'm looking at, how sensitive is the dog, how much do they like the routine, but how would you speak to that?
So for boarding, that's a good thing. Some dogs, it's like camp for them. So if I'm not available with some of my clients, then they do board them and the dog comes back just fine. But when there's older dogs or younger dogs or dogs that need special care or a lot of medications, things like that, or don't want to disrupt the fearful ones, don't want to disrupt their routine, that's why we pet sitters have a job. But I would recommend boarding them if I thought that it would be better for the dog, for sure.
Yeah, I worked at a boarding kennel for 5 years and loved it and saw so many dogs thrive there. But yet my own dogs, well, one of them was kicked out of the place I worked at. The 4 out of 5 of my current dogs, there's no way I could board them. They would be a shutdown loss.
Well, that's another thing for the owners, the parents to do is go check out the facilities for sure. Ask a lot of questions. Keep an eye on the people that work there, things like that. So always do some research.
One of my clients found that having the pet sitter was so much easier for his dog because it was the same person every day.
Mm-hmm.
Where the facility was a new person, like the chief was huge, and his dog had a really hard time with that. So because there's that bond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if it's a new person every day, they got to establish another relationship. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, some of those online walking companies do the same thing. You don't know who's going to walk your dog on some of those. And that's got to be hard for the dog.
Unless they're Buddy, my dog, who would go with anybody at any time. Doesn't matter.
Right. Anybody who's got treats, he'll follow.
Oh, he doesn't even need treats. He just would follow. Kiva would be like, yeah, I don't know who you are, and I haven't met you yet. So she'd be much more suspicious.
Well, what we do in that case is while they're still there, I come over and take the dog out for a walk, and then they leave. Awesome. Or they've hidden their suitcases in the garage and the dog doesn't know they've packed up. And then we go out, come back. The dog's like, where's parents? But then after a while, since I'm there, they're stuck with me and they just accept it. So
can you give just a really brief schedule of what your day would look like as a pet sitter?
As a pet sitter. So I would just wake up with the dogs. Like these ones that are here, they wake up before I do. So they're moving around, wake me up. They actually want to eat first. So again, I stick with their schedule, then go outside. Then I get ready during the week for my regular dog outings, and I'll have 1 or 2. Now I used to have 3 or 4 where I'd have a couple dogs on each one. So I'd be gone for 3, 4, 5 hours at the most. And then if I can, I would take the dogs I'm staying with on the group walks as well. Otherwise, when I get back, I would take them out for their exercise and maybe another one after dinner. But then I just hang out with the dogs. Maybe if they like dog parks, or I'll try to set up a play date with either some of my clients' dogs, or we'll go down to some parks where I know there'll be other dogs if they're social and like to play. And then, I'm just sort of the routine with stuff. So I'll make dinner for them. And then we might just relax and watch TV and they'll cuddle up with me. And whether or not they sleep in the bed with me is great. But they might have their own beds or sleep in a crate. But I'm with them more than most people with dog walks. I used to be gone longer with more walks, but now I've trimmed it down to it's 1 or 2 outings, and I'm done by about noon or 1 o'clock each day. So I've got plenty of time, but it also allows me to do other things. I can go play golf if I want to later in the afternoon once I touch base with them, or go to dinner with friends, or see a movie. So there's a lot of flexibility, at least. And the parents knowing that up front, I explain that to them in the meetups that, I have to be able to get out and about. But when I'm here with the dogs, they're like my dogs. So,
Well, we just need 20 more of you.
I know.
Just right.
and I don't mind. I've mentored a lot of people that want to get in this business. And because I want trustworthy, reliable people to be able to refer,
Mhm.
I've only got about a handful, and they get booked up pretty quickly. So I always have somebody come walk with me, and we talk shop, and then they get an idea of what it's really like to be a pet sitter or dog walker. And I always suggest, even if they've owned dogs, that they go volunteer at Marine Humane to understand dog
Awesome.
behavior,
Yeah. So
personalities. And some people do it. Some people, that's kind of, they didn't want to work that hard. They think it's an easy peasy job and just having fun with dogs. And I say it's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
We pick up a lot of dog poop too. So
and it's really important to know about behavior. I think that is so great if you're mentoring people that you tell them to go get some experience, and what better way to get experience and also help your local shelter with some of their dogs too.
And when I first started volunteering in Phoenix, walking the dogs, I had no experience, but they showed me how to leash up the dogs in the kennels, and I just took them out for, half-hour walks before they opened, and sat with the kitties, and I just kind of watched and learned. And then being a DTA, dog training assistant at Marine Humane, I'm learning all kinds of stuff. I feel like an intern where I'm just learning for free, and it's only helping me with the job. So
Exactly.
it's great. I could be a trainer. I've explained I've had opportunity to be a trainer, but I enjoy working with the dogs more than the people, because training is mostly training the people, and I prefer to stay with the dogs.
Yeah.
You're good with both the dogs and the people, but
I had a question for you too. Like, a lot of people now have dogs and cats or other small animals. So do you do that for, like, if somebody has a cat or whatever, hamsters or whatever, do you offer that there, or are you just dogs? And if you do that, what do you have to evaluate with those other animals?
So I've taken care of just about every kind of creature except horses. I've had little farms in Nevada with goats and chickens and sheep. I've had places that had me stop by for their rabbits, or even stay with their rabbits and dogs. Hamsters, mice, rats, things like that. And usually the upkeep is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. They try to make it as easy as possible. So setting me up for success, the sitter up for success, is a good thing to do. And then most people will try to do that because that makes them more comfortable as well, with all those different types of animals. So yeah, cats, dogs, all that stuff. I've pretty much done it all, because they'll explain it to me. If I've never taken care of, the first time I took care of hamster, they'll tell me their routine and how it works and how to clean their cage and stuff. And I just follow their instruction, and there you go. Now I've got experience.
There you go.
any other thoughts? Anything else that you want to share about pet sitting?
See, I was just thinking about something here. Setting the sitter up for success, and I was going to mention before, whether boarding or a pet sitter coming in, it's whatever the parent or owner feels most comfortable with, and will get them to relax and enjoy their trips, because that's the ultimate goal. And the priority is keeping the pet safe. Now, I've come across people where their priority is cost or something other than the dog's safety, and that is not a good thing, because those are the people that want everything for less money. And if that's their priority, just cost, they're not thinking about their animals as the number one idea of what we're doing. So I've just learned that is not a good thing to have. And that's not, I won't go with people that are in that mindset. I don't try to gouge people. I could charge a lot more with my experience and what I've done and how well I get along with the dogs. I could charge a bunch more. I start at $85 a night for one dog, and I know people that are just getting into the business are starting at $100,
Yeah.
and they're getting it because that's, people are desperate because there aren't a lot of us that can stay in the houses.
Yeah, most definitely. And you want to, that's the thing I worry about sometimes when I see people on Nextdoor going, "Oh, I'd love to do that," or it kind of scares me a little bit. But it's not that some of them could have grown up with dogs and have dogs and be totally fine. But I really think you need to do your research on people that just say, "Oh, I'm not doing anything next week. I can look after your dog."
It's a profession.
It is a profession.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if somebody is in this business for the money, that's not the right reason to be in the business either. But people can tell that they're in it for the love of animals and their passion rather than the money. So, I did what I loved and the money just came. And I like to feel comfortable when I charge somebody that they're comfortable with what they're paying and I'm comfortable with what I'm getting. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
I never want to overcharge so they feel buyer's remorse or something like that.
Well, that's
when
your
they see
value.
but when they see that the dogs are happy and having fun, then sometimes we get tips. A lot of my clients, though, they'll bring me back something from their trips. They'll leave me leftovers or baked goods when I get to their house, or a gift card for groceries. So I get a lot of
That's always
in other ways.
Yeah, that's always
Christmas, end of the year gifts, things like that. So there's just a lot of different ways to appreciate us pet sitters.
So, knowing that Lynes is very full and might not be taking clients in the immediate future, but you might be open to answering questions about pet sitting from some people, since you are now part of the Dog Chats podcast, listening audience fan club. I would love it. Would you share with us how people could connect with you and learn more about you and contact you?
Mm-hmm. So the name of my business is Pet Sitting Professionals. You can find reviews on Yelp. My website is petsitpro.org. You can search me on the internet and you'll find me. I'm in Novato. So any inquiries I get or phone calls or emails, I always respond and I always want to talk to the people, even if I'm booked up, and I know I'll be booked, because I want to try to pair a reference or a referral I may have for them with the right person. So I'll try to find out the type of dog, what they're looking for, where they're located. And so I kind of pre-screen them for the people I refer them to. And I don't do it for money. It's just the nature of the business. All the colleagues, we just refer business to each other.
Mhm.
And since I'm lucky enough to be able to do this for a living, I'm pretty grateful that I'm happy to pass along business to others to make them successful too.
And you mentioned you've mentored a few people, some of them I know. So for our listeners out there who are thinking about getting into the profession of pet sitting, they might reach out to you.
I don't charge for that either. I just like to have people come along on the walks and they can hang out with the dogs. I can kind of see how they are with the animals and they can kind of get an idea of what it's really like out on the trails and things like that. They can ask any questions. I'm happy to share all the information because, like I said, we get more trustworthy and reliable pet sitters out there and have more people to refer business to.
Absolutely. And we need that because every day, especially in the summer, we go into a client's house and they're asking for a dog walker or a dog sitter. And, there's just a few people that we recommend.
That contact info in the show notes.
Yeah.
So you can see that in the episode description.
Right.
Yeah. And then go to the website, like I said, and check out the little short video and the document of places to look and good questions to ask as well.
Love
Right.
that.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. We really appreciate it. I'm like fascinated by this too, because, we do go away. Kirsten, we're going to get her to go away more.
I'm just going to say now, Lynes, you're making me want to go away.
Well, book me for next year. I would take care of your guys' dogs.
That's fine.
Excellent.
And the more dogs, the better.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great talking with you.
Thanks for tuning in today and hope you'll join us for our next episode. You can reach Emma at
ecdogtraining.com or on Instagram at ecdog_training, and Kirsten at
kwhappydogs.com or on Facebook at kwhappydogs. Don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.